Well, it's 11 o'clock, and for the sake of time, and because we all want to go to a buffet after this, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Taking Everything and Making It Better. My name is Jenna Graham, and I'm a planning analyst principal in the New College Dean's Office at our West Valley campus. And I'm going to get us ready to want to eat by some of the slides that you'll see, and you know what I mean in just a minute. So for the sake of this presentation, when we think of a dashboard, let's think of a dashboard as a pizza option, okay? And so with that, I'm gonna jump right in. Let's see if I'm pushing the right button. Okay, here we go. So, like I said, I'm gonna get us ready to eat. Let's think of a dashboard as a pizza. And so in this case, we're looking at the admissions dashboard, right? It's all cheese, all one thing. That's all we're going to get out of that dashboard is data that's related to admissions. So for example, we're going to go, the admissions dashboard is simply going through our admissions cycle. We've got some KPIs at the top. We see our completed apps, our admits, our deposits, our enrollments. We can see a funnel to the side, and we have some filters. But as we go through the admissions dashboard, we're just going to get that type of data. Okay, so page 2 of the dashboard, and there's several pages within this dashboard. It's quite comprehensive. We have our student profile. So we've got more information about our incoming students. We've got our type of scholars at the top. We have our filters listed so that we know what we're filtering for. We also can see that we have filters on the side, and we have our top feeders. We can look at our CI bands. We have some demographics. Again, all related to our incoming students, our admissions data set. So maybe we don't want admissions. Maybe we want our retention dashboard. In this case, it's a pepperoni pizza. All we're getting in here is our retention data related specifically to our student retention. In this case, it's our first year student retention. At the top, we are seeing our KPIs. We get some information about the size of our cohort, our retention rate, and then a few KPIs up at the top, including our goal to hit our 90%. As we travel down the dashboard, we can see several different type of visualizations and tables that'll show us how we are retaining against other colleges, how we retain across the United States and also abroad. We can also see our retention by major, CI band, and as we travel down, we can see retention by ethnicity and residency, need level, and then we can see how we're faring against the other campuses. Again, in our retention dashboard, our pepperoni pizza is just pepperoni. We're not getting just cheese. We're not getting the admissions. We're just getting pepperoni here. We're getting our retention dashboard. So enrollment. This is our meat lovers pizza. So we're just getting, this time, we're getting just the meat, we're getting enrollment. So here we have enrollment tracking visualizations. Here we've got enrollment by our majors. We have enrollment, we can see in which state we're up or down by the colors. And then we also have a nice little table if we want to see it in that version as well. We got some filters on the side. But again, in this respect, we're just getting the meat lovers pizza. We're just getting our enrollment data. We're not getting admissions, cheese. We're not getting retention, the pepperoni, we're getting just the meat lovers here. We have, let's say we have our census data, our 21st day data, which is actually incorporated into the admissions dashboard, the enrollment and retention, all have a little bit of the census data. But when we want the census, we're just getting that. We're getting just the census data, just the, this is veggie lovers. But there are times where we may want to see all of that, right? We want that supreme pizza. We don't want just the cheese. We don't want just pepperoni. We don't want just the meat. We don't want just the veggies. We want it all on one pizza, all in one dashboard, and we want it to look nice. We want it beautiful like this. We want it to look appetizing. We want it to look like something we want to digest and ingest. So that's what I'm attempting to do with my everything all at once dashboard. And I think I've done an okay job with it. So I'll talk with you through that process and how things that I had to change about myself to get there. Okay, so and basically, like I said, what we're going to go through is the hows and why of this dashboard. And I'll back up really quick because I realized I didn't tell you much about myself other than I'm from the West Campus. Um, I do work in our West Campus Dean's office. I've been in New College for 21 years, and only the last 5 or 6 of it have been spent in analytics and data. Before that, I entered as a recruiter and recruited at high schools and community colleges. Then I transitioned after about 10 years into retention and managed um, our student retention team and our peer mentors. I did community reprograms, anything related to student support. I did at a staff level, I did that. And so all of that kind of led me to this. But I just thought I'd throw that in there because I didn't do that in the beginning. So, but into the hows and whys, why do we even need a dashboard like this? I think some of you probably already know why we need one like that. First of all, for time. If you're an administrator or it's someone like me who is always bombarded with questions about data, hey, how much are we up in this? What are these numbers? Or, you're a dean or you're a director, you don't necessarily have time to always stop at all of those dashboards to get to what you're looking for. And ultimately convenience, that's what these pizza boxes represent. It's convenience. Time and convenience is why a dashboard like this can be very useful. So you saw, so there's an O here because yeah, I want to make this great supreme pizza, but there are some challenges. For one, you saw some of the examples of my previous dashboards. For the most part, there's a formula that I sort of follow. And when I started to build this everything dashboard, my design concept just didn't fit. I couldn't get it to work without making it just too busy. So that's one issue. Also, how do I make a dashboard that doesn't look busy? That just does, if I'm trying to put 4 or 5 different dashboards into one, how do you do that? How do you pick what's important and what should be included? Because that dashboard isn't meant to replace those individual pizzas, right? It's just meant to give you an overview or pull out certain metrics that are constantly asked of all the time. So how do I do that without making it busy? And then also how to make it clear and easy to digest for someone. There's so much there. How can I keep it concise? And how do I make it look uniform? Like all those dashboards look a little different. Some of the colors are different for different reasons within the dashboard. Some of those data sets are bigger and have other elements. So how do I make them look like they belong together when they don't naturally belong together? So those were the challenges that I was faced with. So what I wanted to do first, so I knew that what I was doing wasn't working. And so my first thought was Tableau visit the day. Go to Tableau Public and start looking and seeing what might inspire me. When I decided to do this, the first thing I wanted to know was, okay, it has to look good. It has to be easy on the eyes. It must have substance so it can't just be some fun dashboard. It has to really have some meat to it. And it basically has to be that everything for me. My one ring, as someone was referencing the Lord of the Rings, so that my one ring, that's what I'm looking for when I look for that. So I think when I originally did my first search for this, I think I might have even done busy dashboards or dashboards with a lot of data. The search was something similar to that because I knew I was looking for a dashboard that had a lot, right? But it looked good to it. So here is my search, looking for inspiration on Tableau Public, which is free, by the way. If you guys haven't, I don't know, has anyone else been on Tableau Public? Know about Visit the Day? So some of you do. Okay. So anyway, okay, so here I am searching and I'm seeing these dashboards. I'm like, okay, all right, let's keep looking. And I came across a dashboard by Frankie Benson. It was her HR dashboard, and I'll zoom in a little bit. And this is her dashboard. And so what I liked when I thought about her dashboard, what I like is they're little compartments, the squares. I thought, okay, so this is a little bit of what I'm looking for, where I can start to see where maybe admissions data will go here, maybe retention data, or I can kind of compartmentalize those dashboards all in one space. There's a lot here, but I don't think it looks overly busy. There's minimal use of color. So I'm like, okay, let me see what else she's doing. What else is Frankie doing? So I looked at several of her dashboards. And as you can see, I do have stars on several of them that I really liked. As I looked at them, I started thinking, yeah, okay, she's got a lot, her dashboards have a lot. There's a lot on the page, and I tend to use a mix of visualizations, charts, and tables. So I knew I didn't want it just to be all one. So I really like that about what she was doing. So as I looked at Frankie's visualizations and her dashboards, I thought, who's inspiring her? You know, where's she getting her motivation for? So I looked at her favorites to see who she was favoriting and then who she was following, and to see if I can find anything more. Because I did like what she was doing, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for. So when that happened, I think this is from Pradeep. I really like this dashboard. I thought, okay, I'm seeing more and more of, in fact, this thing, it's got the KPIs at the top, you know, like I'm used to. It's got some charts, it's got some tables, and I really thought, okay, this could be it, but not quite, right? So Pradeep, I believe is his name. I'll have his name in the next slide. So as I looked more through his dashboard, this was the one where I was like, okay, this is it. I can start to see my dashboards into one, right? Because what I visualized is here, I'm calling these pills, right? This pill could be one of my dashboards. This next pill could be another. This next one. So what I could start to see is how I could break this is how I can get every dashboard on that one dashboard without it looking busy. Because also I'm not looking for a dashboard where they have to dig deep. Like, oh, I got to link here and do this. What I'm hoping for is a dashboard where everything's on one page. They can print that out. They can look at it on their phone or tablet, sit in a meeting, and get those metrics that they need. I really, really like this. So the next thing I did, you're able to download, right? You can download dashboards on Tableau Public. So that's what I did, because I'm like, I'm going to pick this apart, figure out what he did. And that's what I did. And we can see the layers of the pizza all here. And so what I thought, what I anticipated was that the background that I like so much and how those pieces of his dashboard were sectioned off were actually a photo. and it's not from Tableau. That's what I suspected, and that's what you see here. His background is there, and I was like, okay, all right, Jenna, you're gonna have to learn some new things that you have been putting off for a while. So Pradeep is his name, and so what I liked about Pradeep and Frankie's dashboard ultimately was their use of space. It was their background. And the background is how they decided to partition out their dashboards. Their use of space and color, and is really what I thought. That's it. That's what is making this dashboard work for me. But I don't necessarily know how to make that background. Now I know it can be done in Figma. Those of you that know Sam in Tableau office hours, she had been really pitching Figma and, hey, we need to do this. And I've been putting it off because, well, we're all busy, right? And I know Photoshop. So I was like, well, maybe I'll try to do this in Photoshop. But I don't use it all the time. So there's some awkwardness with Photoshop. So, and I thought, well, maybe I could use PowerPoint. Maybe, you could do some graphics in PowerPoint as well. But ultimately I was like, no, Jenna, you have to learn Figma, because one, Sam said it's easy to learn, and several of these people building dashboards are using Figma to build the great backgrounds to lay their data on. And so my good friend YouTube, which I have folders for Tableau, Alteryx, Excel, anything, related to data, and even cooking or whatever. But so I have folders for that, and I said, okay, let me watch a few videos and figure out how to use Figma. So that's what I did. And this is a Figma tutorial, creating styles. And this video wasn't very long, probably no more than 5 or 6 minutes. but it was enough to give me the basics on how to create shapes and how to color them and start the process of building the background to match that the dashboard that I like so much. So here is what I did in literally within an hour, was able to kind of figure out, okay, this is how I make this box. And as you see, it looks a lot like what Pradeep was doing, except I added all the ASU color palette, and we do have all those colors in the color palette, with some new ones like turquoise and so on. But so I decided to go ahead. All right, let's do this. I can do this in ASU colors. And so I also knew that I was going to have to learn how to add filters and hide them. My current dashboards, all the filters are kind of out. The ones you saw, the filters are to the side, they're not hidden. And I've been wanting to do that so that I could use less real estate, because this dashboard needs it. All the real estate on the dashboard has to go to the data, the visualizations. It can't, the dashboard, the filters can't take up that space. It would just be too busy and there's not enough room to do what I wanted to do. So Paul, also with, if you know Tableau office hours, you know Paul several times, at least twice, I know, has demonstrated how to hide Paul and to hide the filters. And one of those sessions I had asked him to record, and he did, and he sent me that video. And so I was like, okay, let me dig through my, wherever he sent it. I think it was through Slack. I said, let me search through my Slack, find that video, and sit down, carve out the time, and learn how to hide these filters. And it's not an elaborate thing, but when you're busy and you're like, oh, I'll put it off, there's nothing like a deadline to make you learn how to do these things you've been putting off for months. And it's not because I didn't want to, it's just busy, but when you got a presentation coming up, you got to get it done. So I went back, looked at the video, and I did that. So here we go with Pradeep's dashboard, right? This is what I was like, yes, this is it. And this is my initial creation of my dashboard. Okay, and so what we have here is my 21st day enrollment, current enrollment, retention, dashboard, and admissions. So I squeezed the pieces of those dashboards that I thought were probably the most relevant to be here, the things that I get asked constantly. And what that is how many students are enrolled, total enrollment, how many first year, how many transfer, how many grad students, how many students do we have in XYZ major, right? Okay, so we've got our 21st, and same thing, but just current day, our retention dashboard, the things I pulled out. One, what's our retention like? Those top KPIs, what is our goal? I've got some trends here that's hidden in my other dashboard, but here I brought it out in the front so that we could see those trends. Retention by our different schools, retention by our majors, and then retention by ethnicity. Again, pulling out those elements that I know that my administration and that our directors are looking for constantly. With admissions, see, I gotta move this out of my way. With admissions, I took those top KPIs, information about our apps, admits, information about our majors, and then also this is information about ethnicity before it was taken out of admissions data. So, and then we've got where they can get this into a PDF. So this was my first version. And you see the little, I think they call it hamburger right here, the hidden filters. So I was able to do that. Okay. So with this dashboard, one, I learned Figma so that I can figure out my background. Two, I learned how to hide those filters so they're not taking up all of my dashboard. And so I was pretty happy with this, because I believe this helped. This on one page is giving them just those nuggets of the information. Again, it's not meant to take place of all those other pizzas. It's just meant to build a new one that includes what we can from those. But there were some challenges here, and then that was my first iteration of it. And while I think it was great, there are some things that need to change. So one, if you look on that previous dashboard, these are the only two that have filters. Okay. All this needs to have filters ultimately. So we needed to fix that. There were some data inconsistencies between my enrollment data, because what I was wanting to do here is have current as of today, but I had also trends going on that I added later that were showing week to week. So the week to week updates, what Thursdays are once a week, and then the current day. So I was having the numbers weren't matching. So I was like, all right, we got to make some changes to that so it's consistent and makes sense. And also, I think we need some more pills in there. We need to add a few more maybe slices of the supreme pizza. Um, so this is the updated version of the dashboard. And so what you can see here, I thought that, perspective is everything. And so I took a little bit of space and added a trend line here. So we could see our enrollment trends from the last 5 years. I did that in the current as well. I also decided with this current enrollment to go with the weekly enrollment tracking numbers, so that all of this matches current day or current week is I think better than just having the two kind of not match. So I decided to go with all one source here, so it's all the same. If they look up here 240, it's going to be the same there. Let's see, what else did I put in? Actually, I highlighted for you what I did. So you can see the circle here. I put in more filters, and I also changed the icon because I feel that little funnel looks very universal, that it's a filter. So there's filters in each of these now so that you can filter the dashboards, because these are still separate pieces of the dashboard. So you can filter those. I then also, well, I showed you the trend line, got ahead of myself. The trend line, which I think just helps add perspective to where we were versus several years. And it doesn't make it too much more busy to add the little tiny trend line in there. I played around a lot with what the year would look like. You see, I have them kind of upside down, and I've only got the last two numbers. So I really had to play with it to try to make it not look too busy. And then also, in addition to the filters, I put a little section in here that lets you know what's actually being filtered right now. And that's happening at some of the bottom of these too. So you can see down here so that they know exactly what's being filtered through in this peel, to just provide clarity. And there's also, I think I've highlighted it here, dashboard notes. So in addition to the PDF, there's also notes in the dashboard, so that people have a better idea of what's going on. Okay, so what's next for my Supreme dashboard? Well, I do think that there's a couple of more pills. Like I said, there's some data sets in there that I wanted to include, and this is still in development, so bear with how it looks. It will look better, but for now, this is what I'm working on. And so what I'm adding here is course data. So what we're looking at is our course performance, course enrollment. So we can see right at the top how many courses we're offering for the semester, how many students are enrolled in those courses. That's something I've been asked for quite a bit recently. So if it's something that's really coming up a lot, I'm going to try to make sure that it's in this one-stop shop, my mixtape dashboard. So we have information on the different schools and how many courses that they have. We can see our enrollment from 5 years ago to current to see the change in enrollment. Again, I'm still working on it, so it's a little naked. But I wanted to just show you kind of what's coming and what is going to be a part of this next dashboard. And then we have our top 5 courses by enrollment. What's also going to come is a student section. I get asked for student demographics probably almost as much, or if not more than like enrollment numbers and that sort of thing. So a student profile will go here, and it will have demographics, number of students, and any type of information, kind of just highlights and nuggets for how many students do we have, how many students in coming from out of state, or how many merit scholars, or whatever it is that we want to kind of narrow down for those students. I get asked that quite a bit. How many first gen, how many low income, how many women, how many men. And so when people are trying to do grants and those sort of things, they want that kind of information. That comes up quite a bit. So that's what's coming next on the dashboard. And so I think that might be it for the pills. I don't know if I want to try to get too much. It just kind of depends on feedback. So for me, I don't go to the directors or any executive meeting without this because I'm constantly asked for these numbers. So now I don't have to have several. What I used to do is go to these meetings and have several windows. And so I click on whichever one that they were going to ask me about. So now I can have it here. And so I know that my dean and some of the other administrators receive this once a week, so that they get it like every Monday. They can see the numbers, right, that are coming in. And I think that yeah, I think that's it. It's time for questions. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer now. And you can always reach me via email at jenna.graham@asu.edu. And I don't even know how we are on time. Okay, we could still got some time. So let's see. Are there any questions? I did not look at Monday.com. I'm not familiar with Monday. What is Monday? Okay. I think I may have seen a commercial for it on like YouTube or something. It sounds familiar, but my inspiration has always been to go to kind of Tableau Public, other people building Tableau dashboards, and it is free and people publish there all the time. And you can even subscribe to the Tableau Viz of the day and it'll come to your inbox. And I used to do that, but then it got a bit much because then I couldn't keep up with them. So I just go when I need to. Mhm. Yes. Yeah, so the data source for my admissions dashboard is similar to yours. The crew have graciously allowed me to have some access, so I'm getting the data that matches what comes out in the Thursday reports. I'm also utilizing the master list for my admissions dashboard, and I'll go back to some of them. Let's see if I can just stop this slideshow and then just go back to them. So yeah, for admissions, I'm basically at master list and the ADM table. Thank you, Ruben and Troy, for allowing me to kind of play around in there. So that's what's happening. Let's see, where's admissions? Yeah, so that's what I'm using there. And then for the retention dashboard, there are a couple of data sets, but essentially I'm using the background data for the FTF cohort with program status. I think it's from enrollment and records, but I'm using that, which should be, I think it's updated now. And then we have some in-house data sets so that we can collect qualitative data from students. So that's also in our retention dashboard. As you hover over the states, each of those, there's information about why the student did or didn't return. So that's anecdotal data that's coming from notes from peer mentor meetings and that sort of thing. And then enrollment, anything related to census, I'm using census tables to do any of the 21st day data. And what else is in there? Enrollment tracking. Yeah, so in an enrollment tracking report, what I'm doing is I use some of the old reports from my reports and I just put them in Alteryx and have them update either daily or weekly, depending how they update in the database. So I do use Alteryx to schedule all of the updates so I don't have to do manual anymore. And so, yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. So I took all of those dashboards and imported them into one. So this thing has a huge data set. And so I'm trying to clean that up a bit and see what I don't need from those other dashboards so that I'm not, so that it's just not too much. Yes. I think there's, yes, go ahead. Mhm. So it's kind of in the middle, but I have a dean that loves data, and I meet with him once a month, and that's all we meet on is data. And so it's not uncommon, and it has been uncommon for me to leave his office with a scribble of what he would like to see. So he's very, I get a lot of direct feedback that way. Also, just my previous history being in all these roles of working in with faculty and staff. Some of that is my own intuition of what I'm constantly asked for, but also I attend our college's directors meetings and executive meetings, so I can hear from the directors what they want. If I hear certain things talked about, I'll make notes for this to probably go into a dashboard. So each of the dashboards that I'm doing, let me go back to here so you can at least see this. So people at, let's see, can I get back into, I think this is good. So yeah, so I do get firsthand feedback from the users. And this dashboard is as much for me as it is for them, because I utilize this all the time when I'm asked for something, but I do get that feedback. All of my dashboards, there is a version for each school. So what you're seeing is the basic college level one, but then each of the four schools now in the college have their own version. And so I'll get feedback from those directors. So yeah, it's great to have that feedback to see what works. There's definitely been times where I've put a visualization here and the dean will ask, can we get it this way, or can we have that? Or, so I do get that kind of feedback. It's great. Yes. Not yet. I think that that may be another iteration of the dashboard where they can just filter the whole thing. Not yet, because their data, the data sets they're not coming from the same data source. But I have managed to be able to at least get each pill with its own filter. But this dashboard was created in May, so May of this year. So I imagine there's going to be many iterations of this as we go through, and that'd be a great thing to have so that we can have that functionality where they're not having to like filter that way. Yeah. I definitely want to play more with parameters. That's not my strong suit, but they're great to use though. Oh yeah, we do have, yes. No, so that's coming from, there is a Google spreadsheet. And I'm bringing that into Alteryx. And I've worked with that team to kind of get codes for the different reasons a student is not returning so that I can turn that into a visualization. Yeah. Other questions about how I'm doing this? I did get done a lot sooner than I thought. I was to talk really fast. Yes. Uh, they're very consistent. For me, right now they seem to be happy with what I present to them. So for me, it's just a matter of filtering the department or the school, and then there's that version of it. Yeah, and it's helped to get to be able to push the subscriptions to them. So different people utilize data more than others. And so my dean is probably at here, and maybe some of the other people are like there. So as to where he's, quite on it, and the other ones are just happy to have it because they have never seen data visualized that way. And so as they use them, they may provide more feedback. But right now, they're uniform. They look a lot the same, except where maybe we're comparing colleges in one dashboard, it's their majors or that sort of thing. I don't think there's a need to kind of live demo this because it really is just kind of what you see here. Well, if there aren't other questions, people are going to get a little break before lunch. I thank you for, going through this journey with me. And have any of you guys used Figma? Okay, so so a couple have used it. So a lot of you haven't, and I've seen a lot. If you guys, I've seen. Do you guys know Sam? Yeah, so Sam has used it quite a bit and probably a little bit of more of an expert. But I do encourage you, if you want to change some of the looks of your dashboards, there's a lot that can be done with Figma to kind of change that. And if there are other things that you use, maybe Canva or something else, just I never thought about create the background being the piece that was going to make the biggest difference in a dashboard. And that really is what's happening here, is that um, just the design of my background has made me be able to create something that was kind of making my head spin before I kind of realized, oh, just put some boxes in the back and do this, play with color, and you have something that works. Yes. I would probably reach out to Sam Carter for that. I do think that there are certain people that she follows and even YouTube channels that she's recommended, and it's also probably listed in the Tableau Slack channel. If any of you guys haven't been in there, there's a lot. Sam posts a lot in there. So make sure you find the Tableau channel on Slack, because she'll put a lot there, videos and links. If you guys reach out to me, I'm happy to send you a link to the video that I used to learn how to do Figma, because it was so quick. And I thought it was really helpful. I looked at a couple, and that one I was like, okay, that's clear, concise, and I was able to, within like an hour, figure it out. I'm not saying I'm an expert at all. I'm not at that, but if you'd like the resources that I use, I'm happy to send you the link to what I looked at, so that I can learn how to do Figma. I haven't used Figma since this, but if I have a need for it, and I think I may play still with the black background. There are things that I can fine tune, but I think for my purposes, I was really able to kind of fit those elements of the dashboard in there. I don't think it's too busy, and I think what it is it also, you clearly know what you're looking at. You know which dashboard you're looking at. You know what metrics you're looking at, and again, it's not to replace anything. It's just more to be your quick little nugget, a slice of all those other kind of dashboards. Cool. Well, if you have questions after today, feel free to just email me. I'll take questions one-on-one too, if you have them. But that's all I got for today. Thank you.